Inheritance in an object-oriented programming structure allows us to reuse elements of classes by creating subclasses and superclasses which inherit from each other. We can think of this like a hierarchy of different kinds of classification. To give a concrete example of the way this could work, our cat class is very broad. It includes all different kinds of cats. However, we may want to make further detailed classifications within the cat class. So we may want to separate out lions and tigers from domestic cats. We may even want to go closer than that and specify certain breeds of domestic cat. So we may end up with a Siamese class or a tiger class. And rather than having to write all of these classes from scratch, we can make all of the subclasses of cat inherit from the cat class. And this is why this is called inheritance. For instance, we may want to create a panther class. And we do this in a very same way, but in order to make the panther class inherit from the cat class, we can say class panther extends cat. And in its simplest form, the panther class works in exactly the same way as the cat. So for instance, we could specify that Moggy is going to be a panther rather than a cat. Let's save that, and we'll pop over to our browser. And as we can see, the only difference that's been made is the word panther has been substituted, because the report method, as we can see from our script, actually gets the class name of the object. Now, the difference between panther and cat at the moment is pretty much none at all. We can see that by using the extends command, panther has inherited all of cat's characteristics wholesale. So panther is in effect at the moment the same as cat. How we make differences between panther and cat is that we can specify within the class definition of panther certain variations. So, for instance, we may want to point out that all panthers are black. So we're not going to allow the color of panther to be defined by the user or by later on in the script. However, we also need to disallow this constructor function. Now, although this constructor function is known as the cat constructor, because panther has inherited from cat, it has inherited the constructor function, which is in effect a panther constructor function. So what we need to do to overwrite that cat function is to say function panther nothing at all. And what that does effectively is to replace the constructor function that we inherited from the cat class with an empty constructor function, so that no argument is required when we create a new panther. We'll save that, and if we go over to our browser, clicking the refresh button, we'll see nothing changes at all, but the panther has stayed black. And what that means is that our panther has taken its color from the class definition itself, rather than from any argument. So if we wanted to make a white panther, we could try that, but we'd go over here, refresh, and the panther would stay black, because our constructor function that we added in the cat class has been overwritten by this blank panther function. Now, we may wish to take our class back a stage further. Say if we wanted to create a snake class, and this is not going to inherit from cat, but we want certain things to be similar. We want to have a snake function that will let us define, this is going to be the constructor function, that will let us define the color of the snake object that we're going to instantiate from the snake class. However, we want the legs to always be 0. And then if we want to be able to report about our snake, then we're going to have to add this function report. Now, something must be going wrong because we've got duplication here. We've got an identical constructor function apart from the name, and we're just going to have to add this report function as well. Now, whenever that starts happening, that's warning bells should go off, and we should take a step back and say we should be able to find a more efficient way of doing this. So a way to do this would be to create a superclass for both cat and snake, and we're going to call this the animal class. And we're going to take out the constructor function from cat. We'll take it out completely and add a constructor function to animal that does exactly the same thing. And then we're going to make the cat class inherit from animal by saying extends animal. Then we're going to put the report function into the animal class as well. And now our cat class has been substantially reduced in size, and all our snake class has to do is to extend, we have to say class snake extends animal. We can take out the constructor, and all we need to specify are the things that are unique to the cat class and the snake class. Now, if we wanted to get really technical about this, we'd create a mammal class, and we'll get into all kinds of complex biological gradations of classification of species. Of course, we're not going to do that, but the point I'm trying to get across is that object-oriented structures such as this allow for complex relationships between different kinds of classes and allow the programmer to save resources by avoiding all kind of redundant script. Let's create a new creature. We're going to call this one, we can take that redundant white there as well, and we're going to create Hissy, and Hissy is going to be a new snake. And we might give our snake a color, so that's going to be a brown snake, and we're going to say Hissy report. Now, because snake inherits from animal, the report method, which we've installed in animal, is available to snake. It's also available to cat, and because panther inherits from cat, the report function is available to panther. Now, as we can see, panther's constructor function overrides the constructor function that was passed from here to cat and to panther. So the rule of thumb is that PHP will look at the smallest class, the end of the tree, and then if it doesn't find anything there, it will work its way back up to the root class, in this case the animal class. Let's save that, and we'll take a look at our browser. And here we have the brown snake making use of the functions that we've added to our animal class. Now, I should hope that some of the power of object-oriented structures is coming through in these examples. Although they don't do anything useful by themselves, they exemplify the kind of flexibility that programming using object-oriented structures allows. And in our next movie, we're going to take a brief look at the concept of polymorphism.